stayed with us for a little while. Um, although she's trying to get out there to the Christmas.
There's a Christmas fair, and it's
The Christmas
Christmas.
fair. There's Christmas fair that reminds you a little bit of Europe, I think.
New York, New York.
So the president, was it yesterday or the day before? Why do you think he said this? I think they're weak. Talking about Europe, I think they're weak. And it's about the same time that he put out his strategy, his foreign security, national security strategy, in which he almost didn't mention Europe,
right,
and emphasized our hemisphere and defending us in our hemisphere. So I have a theory as to why he did it, but I want to see what you think.
I would rather hear what you think. I try to analyze these things, but I do think that the president does think that Europe is weak to a certain extent.
Yeah,
you know,
I think what he's trying to do is push them. I think he's trying to light a fire on them. And think about it. He's already gotten them about a third of the way there. So England and France are now saying they'll put troops in Ukraine. Now, 2 years ago, they weren't going to put troops anywhere. They are trying. I don't know if they're going to make their 5% of GDP, but they've all increased their money to NATO, except for stupid Spain,
right,
and Ireland that contributes nothing. All the rest of them have stepped up, some a little more than others. He's got Germany thinking very seriously of the problem of Russia. So I think this is tough love. I think that's what he's doing.
Maybe he's just trying to encourage them to be strong by calling them weak. The president has some unusual
ways.
Yeah,
and he's always and he says they're his best friends, right? So he's like, he's friends with all of them, even the ones that have different political, like Sturman,
right,
who's a very left wing. He's very, very friendly with. I like him very much. He's terrific, but he's very weak. But I think he's needling them because he wants them to step up and play a bigger role. After all, no matter how strong we are, the more allies we have that are strong, the stronger we're going to be. Why should we have to? Why should we carry the whole burden?
No, for sure.
And against a China and a Russia and who knows who else that we're going to have to contest, these countries that are totalitarian countries, we need some very, very strong democracies. And it seems like the only one we have right now is Israel that can really fight. Tell you who can really fight too, if you let them go, is Japan.
Japan.
Getting Japan armed is scaring the hell out of the Chinese.
Really?
Well, the Chinese historically are frightened of the Japanese. Japanese have always found a way to defeat them.
Right. I know that the prime minister there now, who seems like she's the first female prime minister, is making a mandatory 4-day work week, which I thought was interesting because people are so stressed out. They're having heart attacks, committing suicide, and having strokes that she figures this is a national security threat and people do better work on 4. I think they should do that here in the U.S.
Really? They tried that in France, but they found out that they were actually only working 2 days a week in France.
Instead of 4? I feel like in the U.S., people when they have a 5-day work week, they're really only working 4. Everybody kind of takes it off on Friday.
It would be tough on the teachers union if they had to work 4 days a week.
Huh. Well, maybe teachers.
The DNC is throwing an all-out fit. The DNC staff.
When they called them in, when they said that the DNC people had to come and work in the office.
I know, crazy.
Well, it's a party that is totally dedicated to dependency. Why would you expect them?
Well, I'm sure it's racist.
It's a
require someone to come into work, right? I'm sure it's racist
and inhumane. I mean,
inhumane.
They have. Biden did a great job of making America more dependent than it's ever been in its history. Where we have a dependency level where we could be defined as a socialist country.
Right.
We have so many people not working.
I sometimes feel like there is a lot of socialism in this country
already.
I mean, a lot. So it's something that I think has to be scaled back. Did you hear my question for the president 2 days ago? With the pipe bomber?
Oh, yes.
With Jocelyn Ballantine, which I was glad he knew her name. Actually, I was very happy to hear that. Jocelyn Ballantine, Mr. Mayor, is a prosecutor at DOJ that was really instrumental in railroading a lot of people like General Flynn and Enrique Tarrio and Proud Boys and J6ers and coercing false testimonies out of them, literally getting interrogating them in ways that were obviously not constitutional. So now she's on the pipe bomber case and people are wondering why why this person who is is a known person at DOJ that's broken the law, and that was really, what she did. So this is what she did. That's so evil, and President Trump needs to be aware of.
She's still the Justice Department?
She's still there. She's in charge of the pipe bomber case, the new pipe bomb case. She's the lead prosecutor. And they conducted an interrogation that was 4 hours long with no lawyers available. No lawyer was there. So she's the one that went to Enrique Tarrio and said, I want you to sign this piece of paper right here that says President Trump knew that the Proud Boys were coming to commit seditious conspiracy. And you told Roger Stone and he told President Trump. This is literally what she wanted him to say and lie.
She wrote up.
Like, is it called a proffer? What is it called?
Yeah, proffer.
Right.
Yeah.
A fictitious one. And
actually, it's called a damn lie. But
and she said to Enrique, if you do this, you could go home today. Like, we just need so she literally, this is the type of prosecutor she is.
Exactly. Why did they keep her?
We don't know. So I brought that to President Trump's attention with that question, just to put it out there into the universe. Why is this person in charge of such an important case like the Proud Boys trial? I'm sorry, like the pipe bomber case that everybody's talking about.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
She can't be trusted. She's going to mess it up. So he said, I know Jocelyn, and we're looking at her. We're definitely looking at her. And I was like, wow, he's heard about her. Someone had mentioned it to him, I guess.
To be looking at it. The AG should have gotten rid of her.
She should have been immediately ejected as soon as President Trump came in, along with another FBI agent, Hornick, his name is, I believe, Hannick, who, again, a lot of people came out after J6 and said that, they were being pushed to lie, and, they were being threatened with decades in prison, and saying, if you just tell this little lie on the J6 committee or whatever we say and go with the story and go with this, then we'll go easy on you.
They were all upset about the FBI agents who are being penalized. I don't know how they're being penalized for having kneeled for Black Lives Matter. I don't know why they weren't fired. Black Lives Matter is a communist organization. Its first or second objective is to get rid of the nuclear family. It's anti-American, anti-Semitic, anti-everything that's decent. And at every single rally they have, they encourage the killing of police officers. Also, their advisory board is made up of numerous police killers who have been paroled by Andrew Cuomo. Since Andrew Cuomo signed the easy parole law when he did the bail law and the discovery law that has all these criminals on the street, 47 police killers have been released from prison, and they're walking the streets of New York.
Crazy.
And you know what they do? They go and advise Black Lives Matter. Because Black Lives Matter, one of their prime things is to encourage people to kill police officers.
Yeah, it's very upsetting.
Well, why do they say, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon? Every parade, all their peaceful parades where they burn buildings down.
Right.
I'm trying to find a parade they've had when somebody didn't burn.
Right. A parade is a nice way of saying a riot.
Yeah.
A parade.
The other night, somebody had that very famous CNN thing on with that little fat guy they have at CNN. What's his name?
Was it CNN or MSNBC?
I don't know which one is the little fat guy.
Oh, Brian Stelter.
Where is he?
CNN.
Yeah.
Was. Now I don't know.
So he's standing there and he's saying, well, this is mostly a peaceful riot.
That's such a
Velci,
classic
this is
clip.
mostly right. Behind him, it looks like Rome is burning. It looks like Nero has gotten loose
it's so crazy.
and burned Rome. And it turns out that it actually was the boy mayor of Minneapolis who had a really hard time eating that Somali food the other day.
Right.
He really looked like he had a real hard time with that Somali. But he's a little baby, that guy. He's the guy who gave up the police station,
Right.
for which I will never forgive him, nor will any cop in America.
I know, it's pretty bad.
Well, I think he cost police lives by doing that. I think he encouraged the criminals feed off stuff like that. Like, what am I going to get away with and what I'm not going to get away with? And that's why the broken windows theory about stopping them real quick. Don't let the rally simmer. Get it over with right away when they start getting violent.
Yeah.
First moment they're violent, let's arrest them for the easiest possible crime: throwing a rock, breaking a window. You arrest enough people for breaking windows, they're not going to stop burning buildings down.
No, I agree. They're too easy on them, especially in New
York. I don't even know how you can debate it. I took over a city that used to have riots for the hell of it.
New York.
With Al Sharpton handling it. Al Sharpton was there all 8 years that I was there. He never rioted on me. the little fat guy that knew where I would have put him.
Right. Well, it's speaking of New York. What do you think of new governor candidate Bruce Blakeman's entering the race? So now that we're going to have a primary.
I'm in a little bit the same position the president is. He's a very good friend. Bruce was a big supporter of the president. So was Elise. I'm very friendly with Elise. Love Elise. And but Bruce was an enormously big supporter of mine, not only as mayor, but when I ran for president.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And he's doing a great job. But I just wish they conduct this in a very careful way. I mean, she does have the lead right now. And if he can't break into it, then, let's get together. What he could do is deliver Nassau in a much.
So do you think he would ever concede to lieutenant governor?
Maybe. But it would be a great ticket because, the way you win, the way a Republican wins in New York is to run up the vote in the suburbs and upstate. Pataki may have actually been down to only 30% the first time he ran against Cuomo. The second time he was at 30. They usually think you have to get about 33, 34, 35% in New York for a Republican to win.
Right.
But if you pick up enough votes in the suburbs and upstate New York, obviously that number can come down. And you'd have a ticket of her and him. He'll pull a hell of a vote in Nassau County.
Yeah, Nassau County. I'm from Nassau County,
Yeah.
and they come out and vote. And so does Suffolk.
And Suffolk, he'll do very well in Suffolk. She's an upstate.
He could
person.
win the primary with Nassau and Suffolk, though, if they come out enough. That's my assessment. I like both of them. They're both good candidates, and I'm happy with either one. But Bruce is a strong candidate.
Bruce is a very strong candidate. He's not a. It's not just like a fly by night.
Right.
Candidate.
He's a likable guy.
It's so much different than the mayoral situation where it's just Curtis and there's nobody else.
Yeah, in this case, we have two good candidates, and who knows if anyone else. I heard there might be a rumor someone else might enter the race, but I don't know how much time they would have. A three-way primary, which could be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, primaries aren't so bad. Even tough ones.
I don't mind them.
They really, particularly if you're the more unknown candidate, it helps with name recognition.
Right.
It helps with get your policies out.
And
I don't know if she'll be the candidate.
Well, it forces.
She's such a dope. I mean, if some Democrat.
Oh, Hochul, right? I heard it might be the Stelgato guy.
Yeah,
possibly.
I can't imagine a Democrat couldn't run against her and beat her. She's an idiot.
Right. She's not the smartest. And I'm still furious about those wind turbines that they still have coming to Long Island. So I'm hoping the Republican will shine some light on that.
Yeah.
Because they're going to destroy Long Island, which is obviously a big part of New York.
Well, enjoy the parties.
I will. I'm going to go to the fair outside right now,
right.
but hopefully I
Okay.
get invited to the big White House party tomorrow
And
night.
thank
And if
you.
I do,
You've
I will
always-
let you know.
It just gives us a chance to say Merry Christmas, and we just appreciate so much what you do.
Yeah, and I
You're doing a
appreciate
great
you
job.
too. Thank you so much,
She's
Mr.
terrific.
Mayor. We're doing great.
She's terrific.
Yay.
God bless her.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! What would you like for Christmas, young man?
Rudy coffee.
We just happen to have it. There it is. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! What would you like for Christmas, young man?
Rudy coffee.
We just happen to have it. There it is. Well, Santa, you do have the right coffee there. That coffee is absolutely great. I was thinking of I just have this coffee from the hotel here, and I was thinking when I go to a hotel we should bring our coffee. What do you think, Ted?
I love it.
I don't know. Well, welcome back. So it looks like there are Democrat fraud scandals all over the country. Maybe there's an epidemic. Maybe this will be the new pandemic, Democratic fraud. And you'll finally figure out why we waste so much money. I've told you forever, and I'll tell you one more time. The budget of New York City is the same as the budget of the state of Florida. The only difference is Florida has 22 million people and New York is 8 million, 8.5 million. So is New York giving 4 or 5 times better service than Florida? No, in many respects, it's giving worse, has a worse school system. That's a big part of the budget, isn't it? And you look at the cleanliness and lack thereof of these cities, and there isn't a city in Florida that's as dirty as some of the cities in New York. So, and then if we start comparing the state budget under Governor Hochul is 2.5 times the state of Florida. And the state has, Florida has 2.5 million more people than New York. So what's New York spending all that money on? So don't let anybody accuse you of being a fool. They're stealing it, all right? They're stealing it. The money is there in order to pass around graft, bribes, what do you want to call it, kickbacks. It's been part of New York for 160 years. It's built into the DNA of a New York Democrat to be a crook. I don't mean the people who vote. I mean the people who become judges and have to pay off or in some ways make a contribution to the party, to the Democratic county leader. And the Democratic county leaders generally are not, nature's noblemen. Maybe I'm a little jaded because I put so many of them in prison. I remember doing an investigation with highway commissioners. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. Offer them money, they took it. Offer them money, they took it. Offer them money, they took it. The FBI was getting, the FBI, we had undercover people doing it. They were getting lazy. It was like they weren't even, it's like if you have a dog that's really hungry, the minute you put the money out, they were grabbing it before they even knew what they had to do. To see a $1 billion minimum fraud among the what are really small Somali community in Minneapolis is an outrage. But it isn't at all surprising, nor is it unusual. You've got one now under investigation in Maine. Now, you couldn't find anything much different than the Somali community, little Mogadishu, and Maine, right? And in In Maine, it's the SNAP program. So you see, all of these are like, see, the Republican Party is half a Robin Hood. Do you know what half a Robin Hood is? Robin Hood used to steal from the rich and give to the poor. The Democratic Party steals from the people and gives it to themselves. The poor is then cut out and they remain poor forever. Because if you do an analysis of this, and we just go, let's not go all the way back to Roosevelt. Let's just go back to Lyndon Johnson, the Great Society. If we go back to the Great Society and we add up all the money that was put in Harlem, Bedford-Stuyvesant, in Los Angeles, in Florida, in all these poor neighborhoods, in Baltimore, where the congressman, before he died, stood up and said, "No one's done anything for this community in 25 years." He was the congressman for 25 years. So, yeah, nobody did anything for the community. You. Oh, and he died worth millions. Gosh, I wonder how that happened. So did Charlie Rangel. I wonder how that happened. I can tell you when I took over Harlem, the so-called black politicians in New York had done, there's an Italian word for it, ugats. And they all were millionaires. And none of them began as millionaires. And nobody else in Harlem was a millionaire. They were all starving. There's been enough money given to those communities so they could be Monaco twice over, all of them. And the money's gone in the pockets of the people they vote for and their friends. There's a whole big group that comes along. It's like the homeless fraud then became the illegal alien fraud. And you wonder why they offer so many incentives for all these illegals to come to their city, because they come with big federal contracts, which are emergency contracts. And an emergency contract means a no-bid contract. And a no-bid contract means the mayor or the governor can pick whoever the hell he wants, like the guy who contributed to his campaign. And then that guy, Matt, that guy, particularly if there's any way to do add-ons in the contract, by the time they finish, the contract is 3 times what it originally was. See, and then you need a Republican to come along to fix it. You say, well, how did I fix that? I fixed it this way. I would penalize you. I restructured the contracts. They put them back the way they used to be. I gave you a bonus for getting it done early. And the stupid New York Times, because it never run a business, said, "That's terrible. Why would you pay them? Why would you pay them more money for getting it done early? They don't work as hard." Because cost overruns usually mean in New York City, and the New York Times is too stupid to pay attention. You spend 3 to 4 times more than you originally thought. New York City sold the Columbus Coliseum 3 times. And the money just ended up in the pockets of the Democrats. I sold it once, and they ended up in the pockets of the taxpayers. And I got a committee, an outside committee, to pick the best one. And not that it was done on purpose, but Donald Trump lost that bid and has never said a thing to me about it, which is why I knew going in that all this stuff was made up and garbage, because he knows how to conduct himself. He conducted himself in New York in a very, very dignified way. And a lot of the real estate people do. A lot don't. And you get to know the difference. And you structure contracts, when you're honest, very, very differently. I didn't pay overruns. I paid for getting it done early. If you had a 1-year contract and you got it done in 8 months, I gave you a bonus, assuming you did a good job. And I never picked. I'd always have a committee pick because I didn't want any argument that I was favoring anyone. And then when it was done, I would go over the plan to make sure it was a good plan. If it was a good plan, then I'd get rid of it and have to go pick again. But that's the kind of thing we have to, that the reason our government is out of control at the local, the state, and the federal level. You know, when they say waste, fraud, and abuse, a little bit of waste, a little bit of fraud, and a lot of corruption, straight out and out corruption. So in Maine, they have they have a large scale theft of SNAP benefits. Now, SNAP is food stamps for people and in Maine, which is a rural place to a large extent, you got a lot of poor people there who are freezing to death. And these people don't mind stealing from them. In June, a Lewiston man was charged with Medicaid fraud as part of a nationwide operation. And it turns out now that they're starting to move into the millions and millions of dollars, and it's connected. This was the Gateway Community Services, not-for-profit. And please watch the not-for-profits very, very carefully. They have all these nice names like Feed the Poor, Feed the Downtrodden. Who they're feeding are the Democrats who come into politics with no money and leave like Pelosi worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Everyone who leaves that way should get investigated thoroughly. They should have me train the investigators. Do you know, getting them really, honestly, like, I'll talk to you like I talk to my old prosecutor buddies. It'd be like shooting fish in a barrel. And the thing about politicians was always much easier than mafia or businessmen. They rat really fast. Boy, they don't want to spend a day in jail. I mean, you can crack them, which is why the Comey investigation of Hillary Clinton was a complete fraud. Comey knew how to do that. I taught him. Comey didn't interview anyone in the grand jury. He didn't arrest anybody. How about the guy who smashed up the? How about if you arrested him and prosecuted him and tried to get a 4 or 5 year sentence on him? You think you might have ratted against Hillary? You're damn right he would have. That's how a prosecutor makes a case. How did we get John Gotti? How did we get John Gotti, Ted?
John Gotti,
we got his number 2 man to testify against him.
Sammy the Bull.
Sammy the Bull. And then 4 or 5 others came along and made it a really good case.
Yeah.
But the way you work a case like that is, and that's what they were trying to do to Trump. And they couldn't crack anybody because nobody would lie. That's what they did to that's what they did to poor Manafort. Put him in jail and put him in solitary and brought him out every 10 days and said, weren't you the go-between between Trump and Putin? He said, I never met Putin. I don't know Putin. You got it all wrong. You think I have connections with the Russians. I have connections with the Ukrainians who favor Russia. And because of that, you think I have connections with the Russians because you're not only crooked and dishonest, you're sloppy. You're a bunch of lazy, sloppy bums. That's what you are. And so Maine, apparently this Maine thing is going to spread into a number of other states, so that SNAP benefits are going to go the way of Obamacare. Now, if you look at the studies that have been done on Obamacare, I don't know if any of it is actually spent on health care. I don't know if I'm exaggerating a little bit, just a little bit. How about the following? 60% of those are getting the Biden bigger subsidies. So what did Biden do in the Anti-Inflation Act? He took the already very, very large Obamacare subsidies that were taking the price of insurance and driving it all the way up, and failed to accomplish any of the objectives that Obama had. You can keep your insurance. No, you can't. You can keep your doctor. No, you can't. The price is going to go. No, it went up 3 times. So when he did the Anti-Inflation Act, he moved the subsidies all the way up. That's the money they were trying to preserve with the government closed down. We're talking about something that over a 10-year period will be $1 trillion. So 60% of those who were getting these bigger subsidies, who were the people in the 5 times poverty. This is meant for poor people. Now 5 times poverty. 60% of the people who got the bigger subsidies had misreported their income in order to get it. According to the Biden IRS, 6 out of 10 were cheating. 6 out of 10. That's a lot. Then you insurance brokers who you weren't supposed to even use in this situation. Insurance brokers got a commission if they signed somebody up for Obamacare. So a massive fraud started where insurance brokers were signing up people, but not telling them and grabbing the commission. One guy got convicted. I said convicted, not charged, with pulling down for his company $233 million in phony commissions for people that didn't have insurance or didn't want it and didn't need it. They had insurance at work. They had other insurance. They just took the name and sent it in, the way they cheat on voting. That's why I knew for sure they were cheating on voting, because it's almost a habit. You get like that, you become a habit. $233 million, one guy signing him up for insurance. This is what we're fighting about. They did a test back in 2024. I don't know how Biden, well, I guess the auto pen didn't catch this, but the Government Accountability Office did a test in 2024. And the test created make-believe fake consumers who applied for Obamacare and therefore got enrolled, but they weren't real. They were fake, and then started collecting money for health care that never took place. It was about 148 billion. Do you know that during the process of enrolling these undercover fake people, the Obamacare program didn't catch a single one? Which means they have they vet the people for government health insurance the way they let people vote with no identification, and the way they let people come into the country. Now, what does that do? That's ruining your health care. That's the reason your health care has gone through the roof. Sure, pharmaceutical companies hurt. And yes, doctors and hospitals hurt. But it's peanuts compared to the cheating the Democrats are doing. I don't know of a doctor that's cheating to the extent of 233 million. Just one insurance agent. I don't know of a whole group that's doing 148 billion in fictitious coverage. I mean, those numbers are off the charts, just like the $1 billion with the Somalis. And boy, they're bringing that culture over from Somalia. And there's nothing racist about it. That is absolutely reality. And I can tell you that from the UN. The UN, half of the UN is made up of criminals. And you want to come and check the records of the New York City Police Department, you will see that. And then they disproportionately are perverts. A lot of times we would have to show up there and they're beating the hell out of their wives or girlfriends or mistresses or worse. Let's move into, daughters, stepdaughters, that kind of garbage. But they come from garbage countries. These aren't These are criminal enterprises, these countries. Somalia isn't a country, it's a criminal enterprise. And that's true of about half the countries in the United Nations. They're dishonest. And I'm probably low. So thank God we got a president who's awake to it. But we have a political party who's fighting it like crazy because this creates a cash cow for them. It's hard for you to accept, and I know it was hard for me to accept even, that they're that crooked. And you probably think I'm exaggerating because I'm a Republican. No, it's the other way around. I'm a Republican because they're so crooked. I was a prosecutor. I was a Democrat. And I was investigating the Great Society programs. I couldn't find in one program, I couldn't find any money going to any poor people. I thought, this is a game, not a game, it's a cruel game. So we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to have a wonderful guest.
Very, very special guest coming right up. And as the mayor said, we got to pay the bills.
Because we don't cheat. Like the U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax, channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. Mr. Piers Morgan.
We'll get to it. We're back on the air, Mayor, but we'll definitely get to it. That's for sure.
Well, welcome back to America's Mayor Live from Washington, D.C. And we have another one of our very special guests who's on the show nowadays, mostly remotely.
Yep.
Remotely. So now we have her live, and it's very exciting to have her with us.
We have Justine with us, and Justine, your title, you're just doing so much great work. We're going to go with MRC TV host. Is that appropriate?
Yeah.
Yep.
We've seen you do really good work.
Amazing.
It's so good to be back in person. I missed you guys so much.
Oh,
and
we miss you.
I miss all hanging out in New York. And now we're all in the swamp, but we're draining it once again. And it's so good. Kara was right when the most busiest, the greatest time of the year is in DC. It's December. It's like the one time when DC is just like not a ghost town. Yeah.
Not as nasty as it usually is.
Yeah.
The parties, right? It's very
Yeah.
important that you get invited to the right
You know,
party.
That's true.
DC didn't used to be like this. DC was a party town, 12 months of the year
Yeah.
at one time. I mean, there were all kinds of parties, and Democrats and Republicans would go to them together. I mean, they'd fight on the floor, and then they'd go get drunk together.
Yeah, things used to be exciting once upon a time. Even during the first administration, the first Trump administration, everyone got to congregate. Even Democrats who didn't like President Trump, they would still congregate in Trump Hotel because it was so exciting. Everyone was there. And then, of course, Biden came in, and I spent the first 2 years of the Biden administration in D.C. Yeah, exactly. That's how it was. It was, yeah, exactly. And the roads, everything was blocked off because Nancy Pelosi put a giant barricade around the Capitol, the White House. Oh, but normal people, we weren't protected. You can't
She
walk.
probably invested in the company that was doing that. And she and her husband made a bundle on that.
Yeah. And
It was a joke, Nancy.
yeah.
Please don't send the family after me. All right?
She'll like find any reason. That's
Yep.
what they do. They're just so terrible. But it's so good to see people finally coming back because it was very lonely. It was like this scene in Beauty and the Beast where at the beginning where all the everyone turns into pots and pans. When the Democrats took over, it was kind of like that. Everyone turned into a stiff.
Right. Well, I mean, the tone is set very much from the top. And when the top is falling down, walking upstairs, it's tough to have some kind of tone.
It is. It is.
Or when he sees dead people in the audience. Oh, there's Congresswoman. She died 2 weeks ago. No, you don't go that way. You go this way. You go this way. This way. This way.
Yes, being manhandled up the steps.
Right.
Okay, 1 step, 2 step. Yeah, but it's so good to be back. The golden age is back, and
We're actually doing things,
Yeah.
accomplishing things, even having real controversy about bills and about changes and about policies. And like the argument of the Supreme Court the other day was very, very exciting because if they decide to roll back these independent agencies, they will have cut very much into how we are already a socialist country, and we're becoming more and more of a top-down country. I mean, the government was supposed to have 3 branches: legislative, executive, judicial, no more. These independent agencies have been referred to as the 4th branch of government. You can't create a 4th branch of government. Only the Constitution can do that.
and you've got the media too, but we just defunded that PBS and NPR.
Right.
That was basically a separate branch of government because they were being funded with taxpayer money to spew leftist Joe Biden talking points. And it seemed under Biden that there were more branches of government than there were people in this country.
So Justice Jackson during the argument, justified why she doesn't know the definition of women. She also doesn't know she doesn't understand separation of powers in the Constitution, because she said during the argument that you have to have these nonpartisan experts to control key parts of the federal government. Well, I'm sorry, Justice Jackson, but there's nothing in the Constitution that provides for nonpartisan experts.
And when the nonpartisan experts can't define what a woman is, that's beyond partisan. It's at the twilight zone.
And what's democratic about a nonpartisan expert? Nobody selected the nonpartisan expert.
Yeah, who's in charge of picking them?
Yeah, and all of these agencies exercise legislative and executive power, and nobody's elected them. They're put in for a term of years, and they're protected from removal, and they become little potentates, big potentates. And there's a certain amount of corruption involved, money corruption, and there's a tremendous amount of ideological corruption.
And it's all in the name of democracy.
And it's just the opposite of democracy. Yeah. It's what is a communist government? It's a top-down government. It's a government where everything accumulates to the top because they decide how much money you get. You don't own anything. They own everything. And they decide where Justine goes to school. They look at Justine at 12 years old and they say, "Oh, Justine can be a doctor." No, she can't be a doctor. She can be a sanitation worker.
Yeah.
They decide.
I can't be a doctor.
Just like in Virginia, the parents, as the Virginia school board say, parents have nothing to say about the education. But what do they know about the education of their children? They're just parents.
They're our children, comrade.
Yeah, they belong to the state. You will come with me, little child, or two, and we will take you. Parents? We don't like parents.
They goose step into your homes.
Yeah, this was Hitler. This was Stalin. This was Lenin. This is Terry McAuliffe.
Yeah.
Who actually broke this issue open beautifully when he admitted it and said, well, the parents don't know anything about education. The experts have to decide.
Funny story. I went to college with Terry McAuliffe's daughter, and she was, let's just say she wasn't the kindest. We were at the point, we were in a political debating class, and the professors are all slanted to the left. But she was the Terry McAuliffe Democrat, spewing Democrat talking points. I was, of course, on the right. And you had the socialist who hated Israel, was very much of a Mamdani type. And we got to the point, the fact that I would end up agreeing with the socialist on the fact that she was just terrible to both of us.
Yeah,
That's the one thing we agreed on.
Maybe the two of you had never slept in the Lincoln bedroom. But her old man was selling it, for $250 a donation.
Yeah.
But what a disgraceful
hotel, right?
what a disgraceful thing that was. So I really do think the degradation of government to trash happened with the trash presidency of Clinton, who came from trash and brought it into the White House.
Literally.
And in Arkansas, he and Hillary were taking, whatever they could grift. And when they got into the White House, man, they started taking big money. And then when they started with the foundation, which is a complete scam, they were taking a fortune. Do you know the biggest contributor to the foundation? Biggest contributor is Ukraine.
Not surprised at all.
And that's why there's a Democrat Ukrainian slush fund, massive.
And such a media push.
Yeah. And Zelensky knows the whole thing.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I think the president, and he'll never say it, but I think one of the reasons why the president has such a problem with Zelensky, knows what a crook he is. I mean, Zelensky is, I know what a crook, I can tell you in detail what a crook he is. He's sitting there as the president of a country where the prior president took so much money that he's letting him keep that could have been used so he didn't have to take money from us to run the war. And we're talking about over $100 million in bribes.
It's why
to Poroshenko. Yeah. That's why he beat him 70-30. He's got all the documents. They're sitting right there in the files. He's got all the documents on Biden. He could open up Biden's offshore bank accounts if he wanted to. Can you imagine their conversation with Joe and the auto pen? Maybe he had to talk to the auto pen. He would say to the auto pen, if you don't give me the money I want, I'm going to show him the other pictures that Giuliani doesn't have.
Uh-oh.
Because I got them in my files. Yeah, because they had a complete file on Joe. They know exactly how the bribe went to save Burisma. They know all about whatever extra money was involved in it. I have one of the laundered transactions that I have a woman who's willing to testify to 4 or 5 more. FBI never interviewed her. They're even willing to let her stay there and maybe get killed.
It's just, it's so backwards.
And they attempted to kill Shokin, the prosecutor. They poisoned him, which is their preferred method of. See, if it's a poisoning, it was always a Russian. And if it was a baseball bat, it was an Italian.
That
was the way it worked.
I like the baseball bat. That's more direct. That's more where we're from, Jersey, New York. Poisoning is just so.
So they found that, surprises, but nobody will really report it. Hamas is preventing the food that's going into Gaza from getting to the kids. Even now, they just caught them holding up massive amounts of food.
Baby formula.
And so the babies will die. So then they can have a higher death count. It's this whole genocide thing. I just did a special on Fuentes and Tucker. And Tucker accused Israel of genocide. And there's no evidence at all that Israel wants to eliminate the Palestinians. They got 2 million Palestinians living in Israel. If they wanted to kill the Palestinians, they kill them. They want to get rid of Hamas. Thank you. Because Hamas wants to kill us too. Thank you for killing them.
The sad thing is that a majority of people in Gaza support Hamas, and they would continue supporting Hamas. And you have anyone.
Well, they don't have a choice. I mean, they have an opposition. They just kill one of them. They just kill one of the leaders of the opposition to Hamas.
The funny thing was right after the peace deal came to be, there were videos of Hamas executing other Gazans who, as you said, who opposed Hamas.
And maybe used to support Hamas.
Yeah.
And like happens with these extended wars, when you lose, they became disillusioned.
Because
they stopped drinking the Kool-Aid.
And they realized their own government was basically using them as death props.
Yeah.
They're a death cult. And I remember the legacy media, they reported these videos claiming, oh, look, Israel is killing a bunch of Palestinians, when of course it turned out that it was Hamas.
But if you have a child, right, or two children, they take your two children and they put them in front of a general, and they get your child killed, and you're a Palestinian, unless you're really crazy, you now figured it out, right?
Yep.
You now figured it out. So there have to be a certain number of Palestinians that have figured it out.
We have to hope so. The unfortunate part is that
Hard to separate them.
It's hard to separate them. And with UN-sponsored, quote unquote, education, really indoctrination, young kids, Gazan kids, 4-year-olds, right from when they're toddlers, they're taught to hate. They're taught to hate Jews. They're taught to hate the West. They're taught to kill. They're
taught to hate Americans.
Yeah, the terrorists. They're adults. Their parents. Their teachers. They will dress them up in weapons and bullets, and put them on stage and have them cheer about how they're going to kill the Yehudi, which means kill the Jews, and it's beaten into their heads. So it's almost as if it really is. They have no chance at a normal life because they've been so programmed. And it's with UN education that used to be sponsored by American taxpayers until President Trump came back into office and changed it. He changed it at first in the first administration. Then, of course, President Biden restored all this funding to what ended up in Hamas's hands and toward the UN. And then
a lot of the Somalian money, and as the Secretary of State said on Sunday, they know money went to Hamas from the Somalians in America. You just don't know the amount. But money definitely went there. The question is, was it a quarter of it? Was it all of it? Was it most of it? Well, I'm sure they took their share too. But Hamas, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, the guys in Qatar are multi-billionaires.
And now they're paying influencers, or it seems they're either paying them or they're inviting them on these lofty influencer style trips. Oh, come join us. Come look how beautiful Qatar is. And it's so funny. The same influencers who used Israel for 2 years as a scapegoat, saying anyone who dares to take a trip to Israel, oh, well, they must be getting paid by the government. It's a propaganda trip. These guys are flying to a murderous regime. And they're taking pictures, flashing the middle finger off. They're basically saying, F you, America, look at us. And they have photos of themselves with their cocktails. Meanwhile, you have indentured servants, right, just down the block outside of their pearly gates. And it's just so funny, but also so sad how they just can't see past the end of their nose. They can't see that they're doing the same thing, if not worse than what Conan O'Brien did. Remember when all those fancy elitist celebrities tried to conduct that Haiti is great already campaign? This was a few years ago because
right.
And Conan O'Brien went out in his resort.
Don't the Clintons have all the money that was going to Haiti? I think the Clintons took all that money.
Didn't they? Yeah.
Talk to a Haitian cab driver in New York and ask him what he thinks of the Clintons.
I would like to. That would be a great idea.
Well, finish what you were talking.
Yeah. Well, he's Conan O'Brien sipping on a cocktail, and he's on a little floaty. Right. And look how wonderful Haiti is. Yeah. Meanwhile, people are being starved, tortured,
Haiti is.
and it's the same thing that these so-called right-wing influencers are doing, and it's just so rich because they've rightfully criticized our celebrity establishment, celebrity elite and media elite for doing the same thing for years. Now suddenly they got a little bit of fame and they realized if they can blame Israel and target Jews every day and make a career out of targeting Jews, that they can make a lot of money and get a lot of likes. They can grow their Twitter profile, their Instagram profile. So they've gotten bit by the grifting bug. So they're no different from everyone they claimed to stand against.
Well, I just finished a 3-part podcast on Nick Fuentes and analyzing him and giving people a chance to listen to him to make a determination of whether he's just a performer, a grifter trying to make money off this, or he's really consumed with hatred. And I really urge people to get it and look at it. But I do have to say, last night, and this was after I finished it, it's already out, I listened to Piers Morgan interview of Nick Fuentes. And Piers Morgan, I don't know if they give awards for it, but you get an award for it. It was a brilliant, brilliant interview. It could qualify as a brilliant cross-examination because what he did was he had ready all of the contradictory material that he could bring up like that. The trick to a good cross-examination is to organize it so the minute the person lies, you can show them, oh yeah, you weren't at McDonald's Tavern? Who was that a picture of? Me. What does it say on the top? McDonald's Tavern. And would you read the date on it? It's the date of the murder, right? Yeah. Okay. So, but he did this brilliantly. He got him to say in this interview, I'm a racist.
Yeah.
He said, I'm a racist. Then he basically proved that he was a misogynist. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know what a misogynist is, except women are fat, women are ugly, women are impossible to live with. Women are very simple. At the same time, they don't work.
And he's virgin.
They don't want to. He's 27 years old. He's never had sex. And then of course Piers Morgan got off one of the funniest lines of all because he's very bitter. When he started, I think he hates women more than Jews.
I think so too.
When he gets to the women, like I'm not so sure the Jewish Hitler thing isn't a bit of an exaggeration.
He practically is a woman.
But the women thing is when he starts talking about women, he gets all worked up. Wow, and they're this and they're that, and they won't work, and they want you to do chores, and they want you to do chores. Oh, it's terrible. And they're all ugly. Well, I mean, I still can see. I mean, not all women are ugly. I mean, but it would be crazy.
I think he was pulled off mommy's teat a little bit too early in life.
Yeah,
I think he was maybe a little bit abused.
Well, Dr. Morgan has his own diagnosis. He looked at him, he said, well, maybe it is bitter because he never got laid.
Yeah. Simple. Or people claim he might be.
He denied it. He said, I'm not gay. Well, okay.
Oh, okay.
He's not gay. He's never had sex with a woman, never been intimate with a woman, never had a girlfriend.
The thing is,
I never lived with a woman, but he's an expert on women.
He hates women more than women hate women. And you really have to hate women. If you hate them more than women hate each other.
No. During the course of the interview,
Let's play a clip.
he hates the Jewish people. He said some nice things about the Jewish people. During the course of the interview, he kind of loves Hitler, but he said some bad things about Hitler. And he actually did admit there were over 6 million people killed during the Holocaust. About women, he didn't back off at all. They're just terrible. So yeah, let's play a little of this from my.
From Piers Morgan.
Okay. Well, I prefer me, but that's
Okay.
okay.
What do you want to play?
No. Okay, I'm only kidding.
A prominent conservative in America has to say about Adolf Hitler. Now, what do you mean by Hitler is very fucking cool? Because I think he's very fucking a monster.
Okay. That's a clip. I think he's very fucking a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah, I
mean,
do.
can we all grow up?
I do.
Can we all grow up?
He murdered
That
12
is just
million
childish.
people. He murdered 12 million
Okay.
people. What is very fucking cool about that? Tell me.
The edits, it's just cool. The uniforms, the parades, it's cool as a guy. You look at World War II and it's fascinating and it's interesting and it's compelling and it's cool.
Expression of, a 6-year-old when they get their first like choo-choo train.
Yeah, but they're not, at least they're not mean.
Yeah.
This guy is mean and cruel. But go ahead, play a few more.
Okay,
He also laughs. He laughs about the Holocaust, the fact that it's exaggerated. He at one point, Piers reads a letter that was written by an English friend of his who is a noted author who lost family in the Holocaust.
Yeah.
On both sides, and it's a really touching letter. And it's really a letter to Fuentes about why don't you rethink this, because this is so harmful to so many people. He actually lost people to Hitler and to Stalin, and this guy claims to love both. He said but that wasn't the first. A lot of people thought it was the first time he said that he loved Stalin when he said it to Tucker. He's actually said that. I have on my podcast. I have him explaining in detail why he loves Stalin. I mean, it's a really well thought out thing.
Which is pretty
So
psychotic.
there's always a debate who killed more people, Stalin or, for him, doesn't matter. He loves them both.
Yeah. He loves them, because they wear cool uniforms and they look super badass, because he seems to be searching for a role model, a male role model, someone he could never be, a man he can never.
And he was hoping that Trump was like that. And now Trump, he's against Trump now.
Of course,
Trump disappoints him now.
Because to much of the left's discontent, Trump is actually pro-freedom. He's the opposite of Hitler. He's everything. He's the embodiment of everything that people like.
And he likes Jews.
Yeah.
If you like Jews, you really.
And the left hates Jews. And the Fuentes types on the right, they hate Jews. And you get this horseshoe. I actually remember my first day of college arguing with my leftist professor because he drew a line on the board. And he said, politics is a line. You're either this way, you're on the right, or you're fascists. Or you're on the left and you believe in freedom. And I said, wait a minute. No. It's a horseshoe because you have fascism, communism, you have Nick Fuentes, and you have the Young Turks or the Mamdani types. And the same people who support Nick Fuentes actually went out and celebrated Mamdani at his victory party. And they're right here at the bottom. They believe in the same thing. They hate Jews. They hate America. They'll both will tell you that they love Stalin. And even the left, even though leftists will call you Hitler all the time, they love Hitler. They love her, and they use the Holocaust. They use Nazism. It's Holocaust inversion. And they always used to preach, we need to punch Nazis. But in the name of punching Nazis, now they're shooting Jews in the streets of D.C.
Yeah. You got a little more?
Yep. I'm just gonna play what I have.
Yeah, okay, just play what you have. It's all completely out. The reason we're doing this is we want to convince you that this is not entertainment. This is not a joke. This is not funny. There's nothing just a little. This is a very, very dangerous kid.
You think commits the vast majority of the mass shootings?
I'm sure it's white people.
Right. So how do you feel about that?
I think that white people do more antisocial violence. I think black people participate in more gang violence. I think that's the difference.
What's the difference to the victims?
There's no difference to the victim, but it's a different kind of crime. And it's a different proportion also. Do you know what percentage of white people are school shooters?
I know that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools in America this century were perpetrated by young white men. And
what proportion of
what he had said was before this, which is astounding, that he would not live in a community with black people.
We need that part.
And if he sees black people, he walks on the other side of the street.
Yeah, we need that part.
And he does that because they all a large number, he didn't say all, a large number of black people kill people. So what Pierce was trying to get him to do was to define a large number. And it is true, proportionately, blacks kill more, but it still is not anywhere near the vast majority of black people. That's absurd.
It's how he ropes you in, because he'll take a real point, a problem that there is a problem with modern American black culture. There is a problem with crime that has never been addressed by the legacy media. They'll just switch the races and blame white people. But at the same time, he does this thing that you learn in improv when you're a theater kid called yes and. Okay, yes, we're going to take this truth, this kernel of truth, and then we're going to go to the extreme and generalize an entire race and start cheering on segregation. That's what's evil. And he knows what he's doing. He's not intelligent, but he's clever.
Oh, he is. He may, in his own way, he may be a certain kind of intelligent. But I also think there's something wrong with him. I think there's something emotionally wrong with him. But the hatred is too much. But I think there's something also a little wrong with the thinking process.
The chemical imbalance.
Yeah, I really do. And I'm not saying that lightly. I watched him probably 50 hours of him now. And I used to prosecute people like that. So this is a hater. I mean, this is not even the normal political nut job. This is a hater. This guy, the only saving grace with him, I think, is he's saying the things that a lot of these mass shooters write and don't tell anybody. Yeah. So if you look at their diaries, they have in their diaries the kinds of things he's expressing. And maybe the fact that he expresses it makes him less dangerous. Here's the way he becomes more dangerous. He encourages other people. I mean, when you can get on television and make statements like that, even if you're rebutted, all of a sudden, a lot of people who are very, very disturbed start to think this is acceptable.
The thing is, I always get worried about the slippery slope, because the left would always use a similar argument to try to censor anyone on the right, saying, well, speech leads to violence. Violence is violence. Speech is speech. This is why it always reminds me of the Nazi rally in Skokie, Illinois. Back when the ACLU was useful, when they actually believed in the First Amendment free speech and they were objective, they understood, yes, the rally is hate-filled. It's disgusting. It was intentionally in a Jewish neighborhood, but we have to let bad people use their speech, so then we can expose them for the evil that they are. Because you make a very good point that it almost seems like this is definitely not the first time, but first time in a while since the Overton window of thought was like this, where a young man, someone Gen Z, is spewing this stuff, getting it all out there, and it's not just confined to a hidden diary of a shooter, which I think is much more dangerous than when you let these people just spew. Then it wakes up the normal people. Unfortunately, most people online don't seem to be normal. The loudest people are always the craziest, but hopefully this serves as a wake-up call for a lot of normal people to say, okay, there's a huge problem here. There's a huge problem with people banking off the hardships and the concerns of young men, just like you had these leftist, blue-haired, angry militant feminist comrades baking off the concerns of young women, and they're getting men and women to hate each other. And if you put the Fuentes types and the socialists, the Mamdani types in a room, and you just completely took away their names, their identity. You just like mixed up all their statements, and put it out on a sheet to like a random person. You ask them, did Nick Fuentes say this, or did Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks say this? People wouldn't be able to figure it out because they're saying the same exact things.
Got a few more?
We're working on.
How about Anna Kasparian, who got ripped apart?
Yeah, we'll find her.
You got that one?
Yeah, I don't have it.
mean, she got taken apart really, really well.
And-
which part of that did you want?
I gave you the remember I gave you the
Oh,
article.
the rundown. Okay, yeah. Just
And
give me a second.
she's such a horrific, angry loudmouth. Like whenever she shouts into the screen, which is every time she opens her mouth, I think I feel like I can
Why?
That's Bill Maher.
I can smell her breath
so,
through the screen.
Why are they so angry? Why are they so angry?
It's a great question. It's partially because, as you said, there's something wrong with them. There's something in their own lives that they can't solve. And the more wrong you get, and if you know in the back of your head that you're wrong and your argument is based in feelings, the angrier you're going to get. Because if you
I'll give you an example.
We have the Anna clip.
I'll give you an example of probably one of the core things that didn't create anti-Semitism. It existed for 1,000 years before, but exacerbated it terribly and led to the pogroms in Europe. And that's Christ killer. His blood be on us and our children. So in the Tucker interview, Tucker actually says, in arguing that Israel is conducting genocide against the Palestinians, that the Jews in Israel have blamed all of the Palestinians for the acts of a few, and that he doesn't agree with blood libel. To which Fuentes says, I agree with that. I don't agree with it either. Meanwhile, there must be 20 videos of him leading speeches, including one in front of a Turning Point when he got thrown out, in which he talks about how the Jews killed Jesus.
Yeah.
That is evidenced by the quotation in St. Matthew's Gospel, in which the Jewish crowd says, his blood be on us and our children. Now, and he claims this is like a Christian dogma. Of course, he misses the biggest point of Jesus, which comes one chapter later, which is to forgive everyone. He says he does a blanket forgiveness. He spent his whole life giving parables and stories about how you have to forgive and turn the other cheek. That's the much bigger message that comes, and it wasn't something Jesus said, it's something the crowd said. Finally, the whole idea of a blood libel is insane. It's you curse me, and I accept the curse for me, and then I can pass it on to my children, and then they can pass it on to their children, and they can pass it on to their children for 2,000 years. The whole idea of it is insane. If an intelligent person, you'd have to be a sorcerer to think that there's something called blood libel. I mean, that whoever those people were that said that, if they were all Jewish, if they were some sect, they were some Romans and some Jews, when they said, his blood be on us and our children, it meant nothing except they accepted it. They can't accept it for their children, and they can't pass it on for 2,000 years.
And the idea...
And if you think that, there got to be something wrong with you.
The
There's got to be
idea...
something really seriously wrong. If you think there's a blood libel, I mean, maybe you think there are witches running around too.
He probably does. I mean, that's what Candace is basically at that level. But to believe
She's gone completely off her rock, hasn't she?
she thinks that the French government is out to kill her. She like coordinates.
What does she have with Charlie Kirk's wife? Seems like a jealousy.
A lot of people are saying
I
that
think so. It's crazy. The stuff she says about that poor girl.
she released text messages with Charlie from before he met Erica, from when he was still dating someone else. And she's gushing over Charlie's former crush when he was like probably my age at the time. And that is not something that would ever come out of someone who claims, oh, they were Charlie's best friend.
We just don't need people like this defining our movement in any way. I mean, so we spent a lot of time in the last 4 or 5 years complaining about Democrats who don't have the courage to stand up against the Squad or Mondami, right? Or whatever. Well, we've got to stand up against it. We don't have as much of it, thank God. We've got a couple. Fuentes is the worst. and it isn't cancel. It isn't canceling him. We're not taking him out of any legal position or whatever, but it's our club, right? And we have a right to define who is and is not in our club because it defines us. I'm a Republican, and as a Republican, there's certain things I believe in, and I'm sorry if this guy is going to be considered a leader of the Republican movement. I'm going to join some other movement because this guy should not be allowed. This isn't a joke anymore, and it isn't a discretionary thought. You know, you could be for low taxes, high taxes, but to actually believe there's blood libel, I think we got to push into crazy house. It's
a growing cancer, and you're right. The left never stopped it because they're so self-absorbed. They can't look into. They like looking in mirrors, but they can't self-reflect.
Well, this little moron doesn't. Maybe he does realize. I don't know. But in the 15th and the 16th and the 17th century, in Eastern Europe in particular, when they read the Matthew Gospel, people would leave the church and go beat up the Jewish people. They didn't wait to hear Jesus say, forgive them all. They didn't wait for that. They didn't wait for Jesus' statement of forgiveness. But before they got a chance to hear that, they went out and beat the crap out of people. What kind of Christians are those? Those aren't Christians. Those are animals. They're absolute animals. Animals who are insane. Like I said, to think that somebody can pass on a curse for 1,000 years, you're crazy. You're crazy. Nick, you're out of your effing mind.
Well, at the crux of it, I mean, the idea that you can pass on whatever perceived sin your ancestors or you committed onto everybody, that is inherently a communist talking point. That's how they have the rule of law in North Korea, that you will forever be a prisoner because of the crimes of your grandparents.
Well, the Romans are equally, if not more, responsible for the death of Jesus. They executed him.
Yeah.
I'm an Italian. I had nothing to do with it. Right? It's not on me.
That's like saying like everyone in New Jersey.
I don't even know them. They go back 2,000 years.
That's like if Nick Fuentes were to like tie all Italians with Goodfellas.
Yeah.
With the Goodfellas.
Well, he probably does.
Yeah.
He probably does. His father, he got really upset at the beginning that Piers was attacking his father because at one point he told a story about his father, that his father in New Jersey would not go to restaurants that were either owned by blacks or there were a lot of black waiters because he didn't like being with them.
Well, good luck going out. Like
so Piers said, well, maybe that's where you got it from. You know, maybe. And then he got all insulted. Don't attack my father. You shouldn't attack my father. That's a low blow.
He brought it up.
No kidding. No kidding. And is it illogical? And then he said, well, I was only kidding. So who knows what the truth is. But it sounds like he grew up being trained to be a racist.
Roger
sounds that way. I mean, if his father didn't like going to restaurants because there were black people around because he didn't like black people touching his food or something. I mean, what kind of? There are crazy people. I mean, unfortunately, there are.
Maybe he had his education sponsored by the UN growing up, like a Palestinian child.
Look, we've made a lot of progress. Republicans have in becoming a party of all the people. From being a party that was considered too exclusive and too much for very rich people, to have this little creep hurt us.
Let's play one more clip before we send everybody over to Dr. Maria.
Okay.
This is Anna Kasparian with Bill.
Yeah, I can.
If you had to live in the Middle East, so tomorrow, Anna, you got to go live in the Middle East. Where would you live? You can pick one city, any city. You can, as far away as, say, Pakistan. You could live in Karachi. You could live in Cairo. You could live in Amman, Jordan. You seem to love Lebanon. I mean, Beirut's nice when the bombing's not happening and the assassinations have stopped. Or you could live in Syria. I hear that's wonderful in the summer.
Well, we now have
or
Al Qaeda terrorist leading Syria.
Or the Houthis, I'm sure would make room for you.
Yeah.
Tel Aviv, or the West Bank, Ramallah. I think is wonderful for like a little. In the fall, it gets lovely. Where would you live? What city would you live in?
Well,
where do you think you'd be
sure-
comfortable in that dress?
I'm sure it would not be comfortable in this dress in any of the various Middle Eastern countries that have been destabilized by
You're not
the United
really.
States.
You're not really blaming it on Whitey.
Listen,
Are you? You're blaming Islam on Whitey?
I'm not blaming,
blaming-
Islam on Whitey.
What you're saying
But-
is we destabilized. That's why you can't wear that
Did
dress.
we not? Did we not
wait a second.
destabilize?
Wait a second.
We were
Are you
funding terrorist organizations in Syria during the Syrian
Okay,
civil war, starting
are you-
under the Obama administration.
that's why
Did
you
that
can-
not destabilize
that's-
Syria?
No, what's destabilized?
There's
let's
a literal Al Qaeda
We're
terrorist
talking
as
about
the
your
leader.
dress.
Oh,
Why?
it looks good. I know it looks
why,
good.
You're saying you can't wear that dress in Syria because of Whitey destabilizing?
I didn't say that.
Okay, that's
You're
what
putting
it
words in my mouth.
Okay, great.
But
that's
the
what
United
it
States
sounded
did
like.
destabilize various
But
Middle
I
Eastern
asked about
countries.
the
Are you going to
dress,
deny that?
and I asked about the dress, and you went right to destabilize. So is that why you couldn't wear that dress? Why couldn't you wear that dress? Why couldn't you walk down?
You want me to talk about
Why-
jihadism
I-
and
I-
Islam, but like,
Why won't you?
Listen.
Why won't you?
I mean,
Why?
I don't believe in jihadism, which is why I'm furious
it's not
that
just
the United States just had a freaking Al Qaeda terrorist in the White House.
It's not just jihadism that is preventing you from wearing that dress. Are you saying every Muslim is a jihad? I don't think they are.
Bill.
Okay, why can't you wear that dress?
Let's focus for a second.
No, you won't. You won't answer this question.
I'm not.
You know, we'll conclude with this. But I believe this is our biggest our biggest gap, and one, if we don't overcome it, we're going to be overcome, and that is we don't honestly deal with the Muslim religion. We don't explain to our people what the Muslim religion really is, and we don't have an expectation that Muslims who want to be part of a civilized society have to extricate themselves from that. And they have to decide that they're better off being with non-Muslims who do not believe in killing people than they are feeling guilty or feeling obligated to, or in some way enabling the ones who are dedicated to what Muhammad taught them.
Right.
And they have to live up to the fact. They can't go around saying Muhammad was a great prophet and a great man, and we live by the example of Muhammad's life. Because if you live by the example of Muhammad's life, you're going to sleep with a 9-year-old, and you're going to throw people into a mass grave and kill them. And you're going to go into a village and you're going to pick the 10 oldest people and kill them so you can take. I defy, and I haven't got anybody else, I defy any Muslim scholar to find for me any place that was converted to the Muslim religion and not conquered to becoming Muslim. He was thrown out. He was thrown out of Mecca, and he came back and he conquered Mecca. He conquered the Arabs. Iran was Zoroastrian. He eliminated, or his successors performed genocide on the Zoroastrian. No more Zoroastrians in Persia.
Yep.
He imposed that. He imposed his religion on. Iran was a Zoroastrian country. It was not a Muslim country. He imposed that religion on them by killing them.
Hence, look at how many countries in the Middle East are Muslim, most of them. But the left and the Fuentes types are
by warfare.
Yeah.
He tried to do it to Europe, and the Spanish finally drove him out. But he tried to conquer Europe. He may be conquering Europe now.
Oh yeah, he's certainly.
But he tried in the
Minneapolis.
16th century to conquer Europe, and finally at the Battle of Lepanto, he was driven off the continent. And now he's back, and he's conquering. I mean, when more kids are named Mohammed in England than Adam, we got a problem.
And it's the only religion that no one expected it to reform. They're allowed to go out raping people in the UK, raping little girls.
Yeah, you can't say anything about it.
You can't, or else you're a huge bigot. But every other religion particularly
All
Jews
they're
and
doing
Christians.
is following the example of their founder, the prophet.
It's
The prophet was a perverted murderer who maybe had epilepsy, and maybe he was nuts, and maybe he didn't exist.
Yeah.
Another possibility. But the reality is, if you read the Quran and you reorganize it into chronological order, it breaks down very nicely between the Muhammad who was trying to charm people into buying the fact that Angel Gabriel came and took him to heaven and gave him this great book that was written over a period of time, dictated it to him. And he came back to Mecca, his town, and he tried to convert the Arabs. The Arabs said, "Get the hell out of here!" The most generous story is that he would have epileptic fits, and they would mistake it for being possessed by the devil.
Yeah.
And they thought he was a devil. The Arabs did. These were the urban Arabs who were educated.
Right.
Then that didn't work, so we tried. I don't know if he tried the Jews next or the Christians, and they threw him out. And then the second group, let's say the Christians, threw him out. Yeah. And he went out into the desert, and he started preaching to the Bedouins, who were uneducated, completely illiterate.
Yeah.
Had some kind of, strange, weird religions where they would maybe sacrifice themselves. I don't know. And they became his warriors. And the next time he came back to Mecca, he took it by killing people. That's how he spread his religion. He spread his religion by warfare. Then Genghis Khan did. Then the Ottoman Empire did. They don't have a Moses. They don't have a Peter or Paul. They didn't. There's almost no teaching that goes on. And they don't convert anybody unless they're prisoners in prison. And I don't get how black people become Muslims, because nobody's killed more blacks than the Muslims. The Islamic slave trade is 5 times what the European slave trade was.
Try being a black person in Gaza, and you're treated as less than a second class citizen.
You want reparations? Did you get reparations in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah. And they have certain terms for blacks in Gaza, for blacks in the Middle East, but young Americans have been so brainwashed because they believe that these people they are actually preaching about quote unquote decolonization. They're not preaching about they never mean decolonization. They want to recolonize America by reverting America back to the primitive ways of what the Muslim colonizers in the Middle East. They just want to conquer America with their primitive religion and culture, and their culture that states that it's okay to molest young girls. And if you speak out about that, oh, well, you're an evil colonist. Oh, how terrible was it that, the West.
Because of that questioning that was done so well by Marr, I went and got out of the Quran the 13 different passages that explain what a woman can wear and what she can't wear. And they're very, very oppressive. Basically, she has to cover her entire body because she can't show her figure. She can't. I mean, they obviously, if you read the Quran carefully, it was written by a perverted angel. if Gabriel dictated this to Muhammad, you don't want Gabriel being a babysitter for your kid. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, probably not.
Because he sounds like a perfect pervert.
Even worse than a stripper drag queen that the left loves to keep around kids.
But people have got to tell the truth about the Quran. Because then they threaten to kill you. But I don't care. They've already tried to kill me twice. So take another shot, assholes. All right. So
Lindell TV, Dr. Maria.
We have got to face up to this, and we have got to get the good Muslims, of which there are plenty. But they're into this. We got to defend our people. Yep. And I faced this with the mafia. I'll explain that sometime. There were Italians who felt that way too. They had nothing to do with the mafia, but because Italians were discriminated against, they would sort of, mafia doesn't exist. They're totally ridiculous to say that. You're never going to solve it by doing that. You're never going to solve it by saying that like President Bush said, Islam is a religion of peace. It is not a religion of peace. It's a religion of
Pieces.
quintessentially of war. It's spread by war. That's the way it spread across the world. It didn't spread by the power of its message. It's spread by the force of its arms.
And they can't whitewash it with some
You can make
greeting card.
believe.
Yeah.
You can make believe, but then they're going to come and bomb your twin towers.
Yeah.
When you at least expect it. Well, thank you very, very much, Justine. We had a great conversation.
Thank you.
It's great having you on live.
All the time.
And
I love coming on.
we want to ask you to pray for the people of Ukraine and pray for the people of Iran and pray for the people of Israel because they're right in harm's way right now. And of course, pray for us and for the president so that he has the strength to make the difficult decisions that he has to make. And we'll see you tomorrow night. And don't forget, go on my X channel or whatever we want to call it and hit subscribe and you'll get those podcasts about Fuentes. And I discuss a good deal of theology there too, because Tucker claims to be a theologian and he's a very, very bad theologian. He's got the religion all screwed up and reversed. And I think we do a pretty good job of straightening it all out because we have to be rid of this guy. I'm not talking about Tucker. Tucker is maybe redeemable. This guy is beyond the pale. And just like we felt that the Democrats had to throw out and haven't some of those horrible haters of the Jewish people and white people, this guy, we don't have to throw him out. He's already left. Let's stop talking about him. We've talked about him enough now. You got plenty of examples of what a hateful human being he is. Let's let him just go drift off to whatever stupid, crazy place he lives. God bless America.
God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,